in my
Why is she
community.
leaving? I'm
So
going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
All right, so we're going to talk about
Number two, this goes right to the point of transparency. You're absolutely wrong about the way the money flows. It's pretty straightforward, and I'll share.
So I'm going to have to reclaim my time again because
well, then,
the
what kind
question
of process
about
is this? They get to ask questions and you don't get to answer?
It's my time. The question
I don't know
about
about you. When
corruption
is it my
really
time?
important.
So why am I
because
here if I don't
you
get to answer
can't
your
call
questions
out-
or your defamatory statements?
Reclaiming my time,
Reclaim.
Mr.
I want
Chair.
you to, but I want to reclaim. Well, do I get time?
This
Because you
is
make
my
these
time,
defamatory
Mr. Chair.
statements and no one can talk here.
If
This
you
is crazy.
can't call out corruption in this country, then how can you call it out in another
Well, I can't say
country?
anything 'cause you won't let me
That is the
speak.
question. It is about credibility and your credibility meter is on empty right now. This
See,
oil.
these guys
who
just get to talk and I don't get to
Who
answer?
determines the barrels of oil that get sold? How
But you
many
won't let
of them?
me
At
answer your
what
question. I
price
have an
does it
answer
get
for your
sold?
question.
Where is it going?
Oh, I get it.
will
They
let
have to
you.
use their time for me to answer
The
your question.
onus is on you to
joke.
prove that there is no corruption happening.
Well, how do I
That is
prove it if
your
you don't let me talk?
responsibility as the Secretary of State. And you know what? Normally we would have access to that data. That's the
You do.
transparency.
You just don't know where
but
to
you're
look.
not showing us any receipt. Well, then show us.
But
Do
you
you
won't.
commit? Do you commit to coming back here with whoever the person is who is monitoring the sales of the oil? Bring them before this committee.
Can I
Show the
reclaim my
receipts.
time?
Have the documentation. You don't have this time yet. I am talking about your credibility and evidence, not your talking points, because talking points are never a replacement for transparency
I agree,
and
but that's what you're
documentation.
saying. You're saying talking
And
points
we
without an
have not-
answer.
We are 5 months into this and no audits. Zero visibility into the
100%
contracts that are
false.
awarded.
100%
Zero
false.
transparency
Unfortunately,
about where
Representative's
the
time
money
has
is
expired.
going.
Representative Salazar is recognized.
And giving contracts with no transparency
Can I
is
borrow your
exactly
time
the
to
reason
answer?
why you shut down USAID. So practice what you preach. I yield my
Oh,
time.
she gets to scream now too? Scream
Chairman,
and
can we
shout.
take down her words?
I'll give you some time. I'll give
Yeah.
you some of my time. Then you just
Okay.
just
But God,
change
what
the
kind of thing
energy.
is this? What is this? You get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank.
I
What
don't,
is
I don't
this?
have to tell you. I don't. I'll
I've
give
even
you
used
time.
their time. How can I answer the question? They don't even give me time. I've had to use their time to answer your questions.
Yes, in my
Why is she
community,
leaving? I'm
so
going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
That you took us all over the world and you mentioned 15 different incidents where you have interceded. 15, the top 15. Not once did you mention Ukraine when you were prioritizing the achievement that's there. Now let me go on.
Tried to stay under
Let
5
me go
minutes.
on. Oh, you tried to stay, yeah, please.
Well, I
It's
can
not
answer
funny.
that.
It's not funny, Secretary. Now,
What's not funny
in
is
Iran
that-
now,
Well, you don't.
in
this is-
Iran
you
now,
can't even
I
answer
reclaim
questions
my
here.
time. I reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
You
He's
guys make
interrupting
these
me.
statements and no
He
one can
is
respond.
interrupting me. I'm doing it. I'm asking you to reclaim those seconds back.
No.
Now in Iran, what goes around comes around, Mr. Chairman. Now in Iran, the Trump administration issues a general license to Russia, providing billions in oil profits every month, several billion every month, fueling Putin's war machine. You didn't mention that in your opening remarks. And then this is a war of aggression of Russia attacking Ukraine, to which we gave our agreement. And this is to a country that's assisting us in Iran, Ukraine, and helping a country with a war machine that are aiding Iran against us and putting our service members in jeopardy. Look, we have an opportunity as members just today to vote on the Ukraine Support Act. I hope we do it. And I am confident that we have bipartisan support. But I hope this administration would act on its own. They could do things themselves that you didn't mention, like rescind these general licenses, complete a bilateral drone agreement with Ukraine, provide direct military assistance that has access to the Ukraine, implement comprehensive sanctions packages,
Representative's
and condemn
time has expired.
the aggression.
Representative
And thank you,
Smith
Mr.
of New
Chairman, for
Jersey
taking
is
up
recognized.
my time and squandering it. That's not how a chairman should act.
Representative Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary, I have a few questions, and again, given the amount of time that I have, I will ask you to give me yes and no answers. Did you warn President Trump before the war in Iran began that this conflict would drive up costs on gas, food, travel, and shipment?
Yeah, I'll
Yes
warn
or
you right
no?
now, I don't do yes or no answers.
Yeah,
So if
well,
these
I
are
only have
complex
5
questions.
minutes. I know when
Well,
you
so
was
do
the
I.
senator, you know
I
about
never
this
did yes or
business,
no answers
and I
to
know you're
people.
trying to go out so that you can run out my 5 minutes. That's a simple
I'm trying to
question.
run out your 5 minutes. You're running out your 5 minutes.
Did you-
I don't do yes or no questions. You want to ask me a question, I'll answer
I'm
your
answering.
question.
You answer my question. It's my time. Did you?
Did I what?
Yes or no? Did you warn President Trump
The president
before
was
the
fully-
Iran war began that this conflict would drive up costs on gas, food, travel, and shipment?
The president,
Yes or no?
The president and the full administration was aware that there would be consequences to action, but the consequences
Let
of
me
Iran
move
having
on.
a nuclear weapon were worse.
Did you warn him? Did you warn him that launching a war in Iran could result in the regime placing a chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz?
All the risk factors were understood, but the most important risk
I
factor
just
was
want to know
Iran
if you did
cannot
your
have a
job.
nuclear
Did
weapon.
you warn him?
Iran
If
cannot
you
have
didn't
a
warn him,
nuclear
say
weapon.
yes. It's simple.
Everyone was aware of what Iran might
Did you
do in
warn him?
retaliation.
I'm asking you a second. Did you
Everyone
warn him?
was aware.
Don't
of
want to
what
answer that. Let
Iran
me ask
would
you the
do.
next question.
But the worst part
Did
is that
you
they
warn
can't
the
have a nuclear-
president that launching U.S. strikes against Iran would result in retaliatory attacks on U.S. allies, partners, and Americans living or working in the Middle East?
Everyone
Yes
understood
or
what
no?
Iran would do in response.
Did you warn them?
We were prepared for any response that
You
they
warn-
came out with.
Okay.
We knew it.
Just want to make
but
sure.
they can't have a nuclear
So
weapon.
you said you warned them. Did you warn the president that the personal stock purchases and companies profiting from the war that he launched could present a conflict of interest?
I'm not aware of the president's stock purchases. I don't deal in that, and I don't even know what you're saying is true.
Well, we know that because it is made public what his stock purchases were.
You say so. I don't read the president's
All right,
the
so-
financial disclosure, but I don't believe that to be true.
Well, I think then the president should be more transparent. Secretary Rubio, because these are basic questions that I'm asking you, and to be transparent with the American people. This is what this is all about, the transparency. So, for example, when you go and look at some of your statements that you made in regards to Cuba, I only have 58 seconds left, and I'd love to get it, but you talked about Gaisa, who's controlling the military and what's taking place there, and that they have the opportunity to benefit while the Cuban people are suffering. So what we're seeing here now, the one person that's benefited from this war by his purchase of stocks, him and his friends, they have made billions of dollars while the American people are suffering. You've accused, and I agree, with reference to some folks, what they're doing in Cuba and how they're making money while people suffer. That's what's taking place in the United States of America. The Trump administration and his friends are making billions of dollars while the American people suffer. And they continue to suffer.
Breaks my
as
heart, but
gas
ranking
prices
member's time
go
has
up.
expired. Representative McCall is recognized.
Thank you. Well, let me just, before I address that, the ranking member made accusations against the president, which I've never heard before, but number one, are completely false. Not once. Just to be clear, not a single time, not even for a millisecond, has the president ever discussed his personal economics in relations to war or any public policy that he's made for that matter. And I've been in every one of his foreign policy meetings for the most part. As to your point, what we need to understand is exactly what you just said. It's not just that we say they can't have a nuclear weapon. Everyone says they can't have a nuclear weapon. The Chinese say they can't have a nuclear weapon. The Russians agree they couldn't have a nuclear weapon. But at a point, you have to do something about it. What Iran was trying to do was build a conventional shield of drones and missiles and a navy and capabilities. At some point, they would say to the world, now we're going to get a nuclear weapon, and you can't do anything about it because we have so many weapons and so many drones and so many naval vessels that the price we will inflict on you for trying to do something about it makes us untouchable, makes us immune. And the president was not going to allow them to build a conventional shield behind which they can develop their nuclear program. Today, the Iranian Navy sits at the bottom of the sea. They do not have a Navy. It no longer exists. They have no Air Force either. Their missile launchers have been significantly degraded. Their defense industrial base has suffered upwards of 80 to 90% of attrition. It will take years for them to rebuild it.
Blue is recognized.
Thank you, Secretary Rubio, for being here today. You have been at multiple meetings with President Trump. In a moment, I'm going to show you a video of one of these meetings. It is from last December. It's a cabinet meeting. I'm going to ask you to focus on President Trump, and you will see that he is sleeping while you're talking.
Oh my God.
Please show the video.
products they make and what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. On issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money. This is taxpayer money.
Secretary Rubio, have you been at more than one meeting where President Trump has fallen asleep?
That's false. That's false. I've never seen him fall asleep. On the contrary, the guy doesn't sleep, which is a big problem because he calls me at 2 in the morning, he calls me at 5 in the morning. And you know, I like to sleep a little bit, maybe not 12 hours, but at least 6. So he works. The other day he was at the Oval Office until 12:30 p.m. 12:30 a.m. I don't know what you're talking about.
Secretary Rubio, I'm going to show you in a moment a video that shows you just lied to Congress.
Oh, okay.
So this is a video of a cabinet meeting literally from last month where Donald Trump is sleeping while you're talking. Please show this video.
Coalition of countries that line up behind the peace deal, behind the border peace, and it's still every day is a challenge, but it's been driven personally by the president. It's the reason why we're involved in this whole Ukraine-Russia conflict. That's not our war, it's not the president's war. This war started, it never would have happened if you'd been president. But this war is going on and the president is trying to end it.
You are literally talking about issues of war and peace, and Donald Trump is sleeping right next to you.
No, he's not.
If Donald Trump cannot stay awake at these important meetings where the cameras are rolling, imagine what he's like when the cameras are not there. So I'm going to ask you, have you been at classified meetings where Donald Trump has fallen asleep or had trouble staying awake?
I've never been at any meeting where and the things you're showing me now, he was not falling asleep. And
So,
I think
so
it's
you're lying
that I was before
again.
the Foreign Affairs
You're
Committee
lying
of the United States
consistently
House of Representatives
to
asking questions about
Congress.
sleep.
You're
This is
lying
a
to
joke.
Congress, Secretary Rubio. So I'm going to show you another video in a moment. The
Show me all
president's
the videos you
inability,
want.
the president's inability to stay awake on the job has caused other countries to perceive him differently. They mock him. They see he is weak and he is feeble. This is a video of a French news channel talking about Donald Trump falling asleep at a Memorial Day ceremony. Please show this video.
Well, Mark, a video that appears to show Donald Trump falling asleep at a Memorial Day ceremony this Monday has been circulating heavily online. And internet users have a lot to say about it. It's also reignited rumours about the state of the US president's health. Now, in the video, social media users say that Trump is fighting sleep whilst he listens to the speech given by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and that his eyes appear to be closed for a large portion of the ceremony. Now, we need to remember here that this is a ceremony to honour and remember those US military personnel who have died while serving in the armed forces. And the idea that Trump was asleep at a somber ceremony like this, well, that has triggered outrage online.
Donald Trump's inability to stay awake on the job shows that there's something very wrong with his health or cognitive abilities. And in fact, on a number of occasions, Donald Trump will contradict himself in literally the same meeting or interview. In this video I'm about to show, it shows that Donald Trump says the Iranian military is both destroyed and not destroyed at the same time, something that Dina Titus alluded to. Please show this video.
Of leadership, we've actually left their military alone. People would be surprised to hear that, because mistakes have been made in wars where you wipe out everybody and then you have a country that's, for 40 years can never rebuild. You look at what happened with Iraq. We did so. Iran is in a very bad position. They have no military. All they have is good talk, and they have a fake press.
So Secretary Rubio, instead of holding North Korean-style cabinet meetings where everyone goes around the room kissing Donald Trump's ass, I'm going to ask you to come clean with the American people and the White House as well. There's something wrong with Donald Trump's health or cognitive abilities. There's a reason he keeps going to the hospital and they keep giving him cognitive tests. We have not seen the president in 8 days. The American people deserve the truth. I yield back.
I don't even know how to respond to that, other than to tell you that it's absurd and ridiculous. And I can't believe we're in a Foreign Affairs Committee meeting in front of the House at an important time in American foreign policy.
Just keep lying, Secretary Rubio. Just keep lying.
Supposedly someone who thinks he's a medical expert when he's not. The truth of the matter is we had a cognitively impaired president in office a few years ago. That's a cognitively impaired president, but I don't like to talk about that because it weakens America. This president we have, this is a guy that literally doesn't sleep. He works day and night, long hours, every single day. I don't know if you haven't seen him in 8 days. I saw him yesterday. I didn't see him yesterday because I was in Congress the day before. I talked to him at all hours of the day and night. He works inhumane hours. Okay, I've been on foreign trips with the president that he doesn't sleep in the whole flight. And everyone else is sleeping on the plane, and he's, wandering the hallways looking for someone to wake up and talk to. That people are. So I don't know what you're referring to, but he has an incredible amount of energy. I'm just telling you, you may not like his policies. You may not like his policies, you may not like the decisions he's made, but I assure you, this is not a president that sleeps or is cognitively impaired in any way, shape, or form, and in fact is incredibly active, much more so in many cases than much younger people that are around him. Those are facts. I see it every day. You're not going to agree because you have another narrative that you want to push, but those are the facts.
I just showed you 3 videos of him sleeping.
Representative Ice is
Senator Booker, that the war in Iran is over. This is news to me. It's also news to my 2,500 constituents, Marines, San Diego Marines in the Middle East off the coast of Iran, the other of my constituents who are deployed there, and the thousands more of my constituents who have 48-hour deployment notices whose families are still very concerned. But okay, I will take you at your word. If the war is over, I have a simple question. Who won?
First of all, Epic Fury is over, which is what you would consider the war. That operation is
So you agree
concluded.
it's a war, then?
No, those are hostilities. They called it a war.
Okay.
I'm just responding to the Senator
Mr.
Booker's
Secretary,
question.
you can change the name of the operation. It doesn't change the fact that the strait is still closed and my service members and all of our service members are still in harm's way. The war is not over. But I'm agreeing with you. Okay, fine. We're taking you at your word. The war is over. Who won?
Well, first of all, you're not taking me at my word. It's a fact. We're no longer conducting sustained strikes inside of Iran to degrade their military because Epic Fury is over. The second point is on the question of who won, I can tell you this. We defined victory as destroying their defense industrial base, significantly reducing the number of missile launchers that they possess, significantly reducing their stockpile of drones. And we achieved all of those in addition to destroying what they had left of an Air Force and wiping out their entire conventional Navy. Those are all gone. So I consider that victory, and we did too, and that was the purpose of Epic Fury.
Okay, well, good. Based on the metrics that you just said, okay, there's actually, our intelligence community has said that Iran is reconstituting its military industrial base faster than we had predicted, and analysts assess it still holds roughly 70% of its missile stockpile and 70% of its mobile launchers. The Strait of Hormuz was open before the war. It is now closed. We have lost 14 brave American service members, over 400 are injured, and the Iranian regime remains largely intact, but now with a more hardline leader who has more incentive to try and get a nuclear weapon. So I guess I have to ask you again, Mr. Secretary, does this actually look like winning or losing to you?
Well, first of all, I don't know what intelligence assessments you're referring to. We wouldn't discuss intelligence assessments if they were real.
These have been publicly reported.
Well, they're publicly reported. Someone committed a crime and, by the way, is also lying. And this happens all the time. People manipulate intelligence and analysis for purposes of furthering a narrative. On your point about the regime is actually deeply fractured, which is why it takes 7 to 10 days to get an answer from them for anything. Meanwhile, they're
fractured, but still intact.
Well, intact in the sense they can't even reach agreements that they can get back to us. So I don't know how intact that is. What they have is people that are afraid to go into the streets. Their repressive operations have held people back, in addition to the fact they've cut off the internet. But this is a country right now, in this regime, that is facing hyperinflation, a completely devalued currency, hundreds of billions of dollars in damage to their military infrastructure. And frankly, they all of the pre-existing problems that Iran had in their economy, which is why people are protesting, are worse. Not better.
Sure,
and
but
they have to deal with that too.
Mr. Secretary, so you're saying we're winning because the Iranian economy has inflation, it's cost them millions of dollars a day in lost revenue, and because it's going to cost them billions of dollars to rebuild. Well, we are having inflation. It's already cost us an estimated $100 billion. Gas prices are up with no end in sight. The average family is paying an extra $450 on gas and could pay an extra $2,000 by the end of the year. The American people are not stupid, Mr. Secretary. We all know that this war is not over. Just last night, the U.S. and Iran exchanged fire again, this time over Karg Island. We still have not reached a deal, despite the president's promise that a deal is right around the corner. The president even said today the blockade could last until Labor Day. It's now day 97 of the war that the president said he wanted to end quickly. So I have one last question for you. Mr. Secretary, who won the 2020 presidential election?
I'm not here to answer a question. We're talking about 2020. This is a foreign affairs committee.
Okay, great. You
Opine on
can't answer the
political
question,
No, I
even
don't
though we
answer
all
no,
know that
I don't
President
answer the
Biden won.
question because the Secretary of State, I do not participate in domestic
This is
political
not about
issues.
domestic political issues.
certainly
This is about our democracy.
You're asking me to opine, just like I don't do campaign
It
rallies.
seems like
I don't do because as Secretary of State, we're not supposed to. That's been the long tradition of the department, and you should know that if you've been on this committee for any period of time.
Mr. Secretary, it seems like you have an issue admitting facts. You can't say that the president lost the 2020 election, just like you won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice, and just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big. You clearly don't know what winning means, and not because the facts are unclear to you, it's because telling the truth would cost you your job, and the American people are entitled to a Secretary of State who tells them the truth even when the president doesn't want to hear it, and my constituents, our service members, deserve better. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I don't know what shoes she's talking about. What is she talking about?
Representative Burchett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'd like to answer any of that.
Yeah, I don't know about the
I'll
shoes.
give
I mean,
you a
he gave me
minute.
some Florsheim shoes. They're actually pretty good. They fit fine. I don't know what she's talking about. And maybe that's what she's referring to.
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
Well, how can you see them? They're way down here. We're talking about shoes. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, is this the Foreign Affairs Committee or is this like a circus? What is this?
I think it's a
Let's go.
circus. And
Secretary Rubio, can you tell us, can you tell the world how many people were killed simply trying to access those sites?
Well, since Hamas killed them, you should ask what Hamas's role was.
IDF soldiers shot some of them.
No.
Yes.
Let me tell you the reason why food wasn't going in there is because the cargoes were being hijacked by
I
Hamas.
reclaim my time because propaganda ain't going to work with me.
Well, it isn't going to work with me either, and what you're saying is propaganda.
Nearly 1,400 people were killed, and that was as of last March. Secretary Rubio, why did the State Department approve the $30 million to GHF at a time when other well-tested agencies were there and able to provide distribution?
Well, because one of those were in cahoots with Hamas. And we saw an incredible amount of the aid flow into Hamas's hands.
Reclaiming my time, the aid was held
with
up
the
at the border by Israel, and
you
you
gotta
know
fix
it.
your rules here. You can't even answer a question.
You're not following the rules. You're very familiar with how this works.
No, I don't. I never served in the House. This is a weird rule. Will you ask a question and I can't answer?
Would you please add time to the clock?
Nope.
He's a comedy show over there.
I'd say on the
This
left.
is serious stuff.
I agree. That's why I shouldn't
Rubio,
have to answer questions
Mr.
about
Rubio,
shoes.
according to public reporting, 9 counterterrorism and anti-fraud safeguards were waived to approve this. I wonder who specifically made the decision. I wonder, were you aware of this decision? I'm not asking you a question. And was there any written justification? I don't want an answer. You know why? Because now GHF is closed. It was abysmal. It was a legacy of disaster. Nothing about our investment, our taxpayers' investment seems to have been effective or efficient or in the interest of the American people. I would call that waste, fraud, and abuse.